Welcome to Vedic Mathematics Basis Base Values classes. We are initiating and exposing ourselves to 5-space VMST. Today we are entering phase 16. With it, our focus is going to be Vaive Samhita, the transcendental values of Vaive Samhita. Today is a big day, as in fact today is a reach. We are concluding our Prathama Avriti, our first visit to ancient wisdom of Shiv Puran. 5-space VMST is concluding today. After today, as per our program, as per our schedule, we will be entering workshops and seminars. There will be workshops for 1 month and there will be seminars for 15 days. During these workshops and seminars, we will be revisiting what we have been exposed to during our this initial first stage exposure and initiation of the values and features of the ancient wisdom. This way it can be said, today concluding lesson is an outline of the program in the form of lessons 91 to lessons 102. These 12 lessons would mean phase 16, 6 lessons, and phase 17, 6 letters. Phase 16 is a phase of being face to face with the features, values of Vaive Samhita, 7th Samhita, the concluding Samhita of Shiv Puran. Phase 17 as such will be the evaluation, self-evaluation as to how much we could imbibe during these 16 phases. Means the aim is that we shall visit ancient wisdom, 5-space VMST, as 5 folds, as 5 steps, as Panch Avriti. It is 5 times that we have to be through this wisdom, and then we can say that we are on the transcendental path, and thereafter we may say that eternity is in sight. Therefore, a note be given that today, the concluding day, we are drawing an outline for ourselves of phase 16 and phase 17 as 12 lessons of phase of our Prathama Vritti. It will be a Prathama Vritti only. It is thereafter that we will enter the second Avriti, third Avriti, fourth Avriti, and the fifth Avriti. Means we will be having fifth fold, then the fourth fold, third fold, and second fold. Today we are at the concluding day program of exposing ourselves to what these 12 lessons are going to be, as phase 16 all about Vaive Samhita, phase 17 all about our evaluation, what we have learned, what we could imbibe during these 16 phases. After today, 1 month will be devoted for having proper appreciation of what we have been exposed during all these days in the form of workshops. These 1 month workshops will be followed by 15 days seminars, when we will express ourselves, we will exchange amongst ourselves, and we will have re-evaluation as to how much we could imbibe as a Prathama Vritti. And it is thereafter that in the light of this initiation, exposure and imbibing during Prathama Vritti, that we will be putting ourselves for further deeper initiation and exposure as Ditya Vritti, Tritya Vritti, Chaturtha Vritti and Pancham Vritti. It is only after the Pancham Vritti that we can say that we are making ourselves firmly established on the transcendental path, and we can say that we are going to be face to face with the eternity which is in sight during all these initiation up till the fifth Vritti. This exposure is in fact a exposure which is taken to be a 5 years duration exposure. This exposure is one Sanvatsar period. Sanvatsar is 5 years period. Therefore, 5 years period of 360 days of each year, making 1830 days. It is going to be a program of 1830 days as 360 days, 5 years. Therefore, after having this Panchama Vritti exposure, initial exposure, which will be say a 5 months program, after 5 months we have to enter a 5 years course, a 5 years exposure of the sadhakas will make them senior sadhakas. It is to be senior sadhakas that we shall be having after this initial 5 months exposure, 5 years exposure, and after 5 years exposures we will be our own transcendental path for our own eternity attainment. This day when we are having initial exposure to Vayava Samhita, then in the Vayava Samhita there is a Panch Avaran scripture. Panch Avaran scripture is a scripture of 189 shlokas. This 189 shlokas scripture, Panch Avaran scripture, is, if we take it a lesson 91 outline, then this Panch Avaran shlokas range makes, of which the first fold, the first avaran, is completed as 1 to 48 shlokas. Second fold, second avaran, is up till 116 shlokas. Third fold, third avaran, is up till 163, and then fourth is going to be 189, and sorry, it's 1 to 48 is the first, 1 to then up to 16 is second, up to 123 is third, 163 is fourth, and 189 is the fifth fold. This 5 folds set up as it is to be taken as that a value 189 is the value which accepts organization as 9 multiplied by 21. This 21 is the value which accepts an organization as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. This is, we know, parallel to Sthapatya Miring Rod, hypercube 1, hypercube 2, hypercube 3, hypercube 4, hypercube 5, hypercube 6. Therefore, it becomes a Sthapatya Miring Rod, and this Sthapatya Miring Rod we know in terms of which the domain, 6-space domain, gets swapped. So 6-space domain is getting swapped, and that means it will be making as a dimension. Therefore, there will be 9 dimensions of this Sthapatya miring rod order. It is this reach, it is this attainment which is there by the enlightenment of Panchavaran scripture of 189 shlokas, which unfolds or which is synthesized, which is composed as 5 folds. Then let us further see that this 189 value is the value which, with the addition of value 47, means a monad. When this one monad is added to it, it becomes 236. And when the second monad is added to this value, it takes us to 283. And this reach of first monad is a reach of Ganita Upsutras. We know there are 13 Ganita Upsutras, and the total letters availed for the composition of Ganita Upsutras are 236. 283 are the number of letters of the sutras. There are 16 sutras, and these avail 283 letters. As such, the Panchavaran scripture leads us up till a stage where from the further chase for eternity is to be in terms of a dimonad format, a monad of value 747 and then dimonad taking 47 and 7. Here we know that if our dimonad format is to be taken of this sequential progression, then within surface also we can have a line and a square again. And further we see this would amount to that the sequential progression will complete itself. It is called a Kram Samapti. Vedic systems, Vedic knowledge have reached a conclusion. This conclusion of the Vedic systems, Vedic mathematics, is that every sequence, Kram, order, every sequence, a Kram, means of which is of TCV value 13. Every sequence as it is will have its samapti, will have its conclusion. Its conclusion, samapti, we know is a formulation which is of a TCV value 26. As such, 13 to 36 means when 13 is a unit, then when it becomes an akshar, it becomes a syllable, it becomes a unit, then this reaching up till the second unit, and it would be conclusion of the sequential progressions. All mathematics of sequential progressions as such have its end reach, and it is this end reach of the sequence which Vedic systems are taking as a completion phase and stage of yoga. So Sankhya and Yoga, when we are having sequential progression of the values, then these along the geometric formats of dimensional spaces will have their culmination and reach, and this is called a Kram Samapti. It is this Kram Samapti which means that when we are having an initial value 47, then its Samapti is to be in 94. Now it is this 1 to 2. It is this reach which is a sequential reach. Let us have a pause here and take note that the Vedas are leading us to Vedanta. Vedanta is taking us to Vedanta Trai, means the essence of the Vedas and essence of the Vedic knowledge. The Vedanta Trai we know are the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Upanishads, Brahma Sutra and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The Vedic knowledge, Vedic systems or ultimately taking us to their culmination point, and it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The study zone of Srimad Bhagavad Gita as such takes us to this format. But before that, let us see that the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is of the range of 47 shlokas, and the last chapter, 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is of 78 shlokas. See, the difference here is 31, and it is this difference which we know is the synthesis value of the linear transcendence ranges. This is this synthesis value of the transcendence ranges which makes it of value 31, and it is going to be a transcendental carrier of a linear order. Further, we know that this value 31 is equal to the value of the structural components of Q. Q is a setup which is a setup of 8 corner points, 12 edges, 6 surfaces, 1 volume, 3 axes and 1 origin. These are 31 structural components, so it becomes hypercube 3. We know hypercube 3 is a solid order dimension of a 5 space. The Lord Shiv is the overlord, is the presiding deity of the transcendental domain. This transcendental domain is of a solid order. Therefore, the transcendental carriers are carried by the transcendental Lord. These all features, these all values are at work in the organization of ancient wisdom scripture, Shiv Puran, and Shiv Puran is a 5-space VMST scripture, as it is all about 5 space and it is presided by the Lord Shiv. Now, this scripture, as it is, when culminates itself into Panchavaran of value 189, then from this moment onwards, from this phase onwards, Srimad Bhagavad Gita takes over. Now, this 189 value already achieved by Panchavaran, Vayava Samhita, Shiv Puran. Then at the first step, as a chapter 1, there are 47 shlokas, and this leads us to a value 236, which amounts to the total letters of 13 Ganita Sutras. We know value 13 is a value, then we know the geometries of 6 space are 13 in number. Further, we know that within 4 space, 12-edged cube is having a degree of freedom of motion, and with this degree of freedom of motion, it acquires the 13th edge. Further, also we know that 5 space plays the role of origin of a creator's space, and when this transcendent has 5 space as an origin, and this origin, when transcends out, it splits the creator's domain into pair of folds, so it gives us 4, 5 and 4. These are the values which are simultaneously coming into play. Further, we know that the Vayava Samhita is the Samhita which is in continuity of the Kailasha Samhita, and in Kailasha Samhita we had seen the enlightenment that Lord Krishna was advised by Upamanyu for having blessing of a transcendental grace, and Upamanyu we know is a formulation which is of a TCV value 31. So it was a transcendental carrier, a linear order transcendental carrier. Now, this linear order transcendental carrier, we know at the next stage becomes a spatial order transcendental carrier, then at step ahead becomes a solid order transcendental carrier, and this way the Lord Shiv, the overlord, the presiding deity, the transcendental Lord, when carries the transcendental carriers, the transcendental carriers are carried by the transcendental Lord, it would mean these are carried as hypercube 3, means the representative regular bodies of 3 space of value 31, these are carried. Further at next step, hypercube 4, the representative regular body of a 4 space with a spatial order transcendental carrier, and here things are being carried as the representative bodies of 4 space. And at step ahead, the hypercube of 5 as a representative regular body of 5 space as of synthesis value 53 means the transcendental carrier carries the transcendental domains themselves. It is this phenomenon, it is this value, it is this feature which is available for the organization format of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavad Gita deserves to be revisited, and it's a study zone. The central part of it is a scripture of 700 shlokas. These 700 shlokas is having a split of 350 and 350. So along a diamonad, it becomes a 350 and a 350. Now, this takes us to a Sthapatya miring rod, which with this orientation reaching up till hypercube 6 will have a reversal of a orientation. It is this reversal of a orientation, or it is this reach at the middle from both orientations is the format. Now let us have a pause and see that the first body, hypercube 1, is of the format a raised to power 1 is to 2, and it gives us a coordinate 2 into 1 is equal to 2. Then at the second 2 into 4 we get the value 8 as 8 coordinate. A raised to 36a square, we get the value 18. Then we'll get the value 32, value 50 and value 72. Therefore, the Vedic systems doesn't stop at value 50, and these transcend further, and these are carried further, and it is this carrying further is the phenomenon which is the phenomenon of happening within a solar universe. So it is all what is happening at the orb of the sun is the subject, is the study zone of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Let us further have a pause here and take note that the first a raised to power 1 first space body as the coordinate is to 1, so it gives us value 2. At the next step 2 into 4 we get the value 8, and we know this value is equal to 2 plus 6. Further next step 3 into 6 is 18. It takes us to triple values 2, 6 and 10. At the next step the value is 4 into 8. It gives us the quadruple phases of value 2, 6, 10 and 14, and at the value 50 we are having 5 folds. So this phenomenon of happening within 5 folds, Panch Avaran, is actually the phenomenon which is happening around the transcendental boundary of the self-referral domain. As such, when we are entering a self-referral domain, means 6-space domain, means sun, means a Surya, means a solar universe, then we know it is within a transcendental boundary. Now, the transcendental boundary as it is giving us a system which will have a reach for the middle domain from both orientations. As such, let us have a fresh visit, let us remind ourselves, and let us imbibe the enlightenment preserved at the initial stage of a Videshwar Samhita, where it is enlightened, where it is provided that we have to have a Shravan, we have to hear the things, then we have to have a Kirtan, we have to have recitation in a chorus, then we should have a Manan, means we have to meditate upon there, and it is thereafter there is going to be a Parthiv Upasana. This Parthiv Upasana is Upasana in the form of a links, so Parthiv ling. Therefore, when we are initially having a value of 13 as we had seen is a value which is coming to be a transcendental origin, 5-space origin, coming out of a 4-space, a spatial order creates the space, and it leads us to value 4 plus 5 plus 4 is 13. Now these all phases and stages are there as these are, and then when we are entering the transcendental domain, That means 6 space, which plays the role of an origin of a 5 space, means it would come out. It is self-referral origin coming out of the transcendental domain, which will give us the value 16. That means from the Upsutras format, we are reaching the Sutras format. Now it is this phase and stage which reminds us that the link, a 5 space domain, is to be approached, is to be carried forward in pairs. It is this working, it is this handling of pair of hypercube 5s. It is this what we have to learn. It is this what we have to imbibe. It is this in terms of which we have to avail the format of a dimonad. So dimonad format is to be availed to work out the 5 space VMST, the Vedic mathematics, Vedic systems, Vedic technologies are availing the dimonad format, and along this dimonad format there happens to be an achievement which we expect and we want to have. In the context of the modern systems, they take us up till, say, to valencies or to the orbits and within orbitals within the orbits. Now this phenomenon of orbits within orbitals, when we are chased in the form of value 2, 6, 10, 14, and we know 2 is the summation value of the fourfold manifestation layer, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2 means of a hypercube 1. So it is a value of hypercube 1, and here is a value of hypercube 2, this is a value of hypercube 3, it is value of a hypercube 4, and it is a value of hypercube 5. As such, it is hypercube 1, hypercube 2, hypercube 3, hypercube 4 and hypercube 5. This part of the Sthapatya miring rod synthesized by hypercubes 1 to hypercube 5 as such becomes the miring rod of a 5 space domain. It is here where from we have to have a takeoff, as up till this the origin, the self-referral origin, the 6 space as the origin of a 5 space is in sight. It is this in sight and what we have to glimpse and imbibe. We have to imbibe a 6 space. Now it is here where there are 4 phases and stages. First thing is samipya, and we know it is of value 24. Then second step is saloke, it is of value 22. Then we know it is of sarupe, it is of value 19. And ultimately it is a sayujya, and it is of value 15. Let us have a pause here and take note that the value 64 is nothing but value of the creative dimensional frame of 6 dimensions of a 6 space. 22 is nothing but the summation value of hypercube 6, means 4, 5, 6 and 7, this manifestation layer. Therefore, from the dimensional frame of a 6 space, we are reaching at the body of a 6 space. From here we know that 19, 22 to 19 is actually a 21. It is a hypercube 21. We know hypercube 21, and 21 is nothing but a value of the Sthapatya miring rod which is space. Therefore, from dimensional frame of 6 space, we are reaching at the hypercube 6, a 6 space domain, and from here we are reaching at the Sthapatya miring rod to have a swapping of this domain, and it is thereafter 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19, it is a transcendence range. So it is this transcendence range 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19, and it is, we know, is a hypercube 70, and value 70 we know is the value of a Atma. It is a value of a Divya. It is a value of a Dravya. Therefore, it is this value which brings us face to face with the reach phenomenon in continuity from the Panchava and Arva onwards, and it is this reach for which we are, and then we know that this gives us a transcendence. It gives us a split for the transcendental domain as well as for the self-referral domain, and there happens to be a split of a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere of Earth. Within the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere of a Surya, of a solar universe, it is this split of a northern hemisphere of value 17 and value 19, value 18 as a synthesis point, which is the phenomenon which is being reached. It is this reach which will take us to the Jyoti Vidya. Therefore, we are from Prakash, we will reaching to a Jyoti, and from Jyoti we have to reach at a Brahma Jyoti. On the other hand, we know there is a Dhvani, and from Dhvani there is a Nad, and from Nad we are having Anahat Nad. All these features, all these values, all these formats are simultaneously available, and these are simultaneously at work. We, the sadhakas, have to sit comfortably. We have to permit the transcending mind to glimpse through all these features and values, and then we have to have a transcendental meditation. When in this process of Shravan, Kirtan, Manan, Parthiv Upasana with single ling and with a pair of links, then when these all processes, all these steps are being chased, then simultaneously we will be having a proper evolution, transformation for our intelligence field as well. Our intelligence field will acquire the consciousness base. With it, the mental states, the mental blocks will automatically get dissolved. It is with the dissolution of these mental states and mental blocks we will be having a blocking for our Purusha format. Now, the human frame itself is a frame which is having an existence phenomenon, and it is a six-space existence phenomenon. Therefore, this existence phenomenon within human frame as such is the phenomenon which is designated as a Purusha Vidya. So this Purusha Vidya to our Paurshya we have to reach. The Vedas are our Paurshya. When we see the terminology Paurshya, it gives us a value 37. And when we reach at Apaurshya, it gives us a value 38. And we know the total letters of the Ganita Sutras are 519. On Diamond, this gave us 1038. We know this 30 value, 38 extra is the value which is the value of the range of the shlokas of chapter 1 of Shrimad of Videshwar Samhita itself. Therefore, all these features, all these values, all these formats are integrated within the transcendental domain. How we can imbibe these values, features and formats of a transcendental domain is the real challenge for the sadhakas. All sadhanas of the sadhakas are for imbibing these transcendental values. It is with the imbibing of these values that we will see that this four-space format, which has dimensional frame 24, Samippe. When we are coming nearer the dimensional frame of a four-space, we are coming nearer. Thereafter, when we are reaching at value 22, means when we are reaching at value 4, 5, 6 and 7, that means when we are reaching at value hypercube 6, is a six-space body. So dimensional frame of six-space to a six-space body. It is thereafter that we know that when we will be reaching at value 21, which is the value of a Sthapatya miring rod, so swapping within the domain, and it is thereafter 15, and this value we know is value equal to the value of the solid dimensional order of a 5 space, and it is here where is a merger. Therefore, reaching from value 24 as a dimensional frame of a 6 space to value 15 as a dimensional frame of 5 space. It is this reach which deserves to be seen, as we know that 1 into 3 into 5 and 1 plus 3 plus 5 add and gives us value 24. It is here where the 6 space dimensional frame and 5 space dimensional frame get unified. It is this unification phenomena, it is this sayujya for which we the sadhakas aspire for. All our upasana is for it, all our understanding is for it, all our shravan, all our kirtan, all our manan, all our upasana are ultimately that the existence phenomenon within our body, within ourselves, shall be in a position to absorb the transcendental values. For it, the ancient wisdom conveys the enlightenment is that one shall be on the timeline of a sanvantar. Sanvantar is a 5 years duration. Each year is of 366 days. With this reach, when we will be for 5 years having a upasana for 1830 days, then we can aspire to be on the transcendental path. Therefore, one shall open a book and start with number 1, reach up till value 1830 and write the dates and see how the sanvantar unfolds itself. When there will be completion of a one sanvantar, when timeline of 5 years duration when is reached, it would be a unit. It would be a transcendental unit. It is in terms of this transcendental unit that we have to have 5 units. Like that, sadhakas shall faithfully, sincerely be on the transcendental path and have a glimpse of eternity in sight and then absorb this eternity. Thank you very much.